everybody. Happy Thursday. Thank you for joining me. Those of you that is your first time. This is a community mat class, and the purpose of it is to practice at an intro to beginner level, to pull apart the basics. So to pull apart those things within a Pilates mat class that we don't often get time to focus on. So before the movements get big, before the movements, the transitions, and the class becomes about flow, which is obviously really key. But I think pulling apart the basics and really understanding breathing within our own bodies, where we want to feel it for particular activities, but also understanding, for example, we've been working the last few weeks on where does flexion start in our body, where does extension start in our body, and how do we understand lateral flexion in our body. So that's what we're working on. So hopefully then it means your practice is deeper, you feel more fulfilled, and you feel like you're connecting more deeply to yourself, not just in your Pilates practice, but through life. Have a great time. Enjoy the next 50 minutes focusing on you and your body. We're going to start, which we have been the last couple of weeks. I'm going to meet you down on your back. The only thing you might need, do you remember over the last couple of weeks, we've been using a couch or a chair at about that height, because remember we've been using it as a little footstool for the practice for hundreds, and we've been using it as a little footstool for the practice of the bridge for spinal stabilization. So can you get yourself sorted so it doesn't take you very much to spin around with me and find something to place feet on? The only other thing is your favorite Pilates tool, the little ball that goes between your legs, or a couple of cushions that go between your legs. So they're the only two things you're going to need, which are really integral to helping us at this level connect. Okay, now I'm just going to do a really quick sound check. Annie, can I ask you a huge favor? When I go back to the mat, can you give me thumb up or thumb down? How am I? Fantastic. All right, here we go, everybody. Lying down on your back. Okie doke. So step one, just spend a little moment with me resting. So starting to touch in with the weight spots, the spots that you can feel already landing on the mat. Back of the head. Allow the head to spread, so the back of the skull widening. Now touch in with the soles of your feet, landing in the pads of your feet, bringing your awareness to the foot and the connection, just the touch point. So no need to push, just simply noticing how you've placed your foot and how the pads of the feet are landing on your mat. Now bring your awareness into your hands. No need to push. Just notice how they're laying at the minute. So just observe it. Next weight spot potentially you've noticed is your elbows and your backs of shoulders. No need to push. Just notice. Backs of shoulders, the back itself, the contact points will all be different. You're just bringing awareness. Now notice your breath. Where can you feel it in your body? Try and stay in the zone. Follow the breath. Be in the rise. Be in the fall. Now we start to exaggerate or influence the breath. So we're in diaphragmatic breathing now. We want to fully exercise the diaphragm, taking it for a little test run, exploring its potential. So on your next deep breath in, try and count to 5. At the top of the 5th count, try and hover up there. And then on your exhale, no need to count. Just follow the breath out. Move as slowly as you can. Wait until there's no air left. And just try and sit there at the bottom of the exhale for a beat. If that went well, try and count to 6. Really slow. Try and control the energy. Try and slow down the swing of the ribs, the movement of the ribs, the fill up of your lungs. So the deliberateness with the counting is encouraging you to slow down. Those of you that are task orientated, diving straight into counting is keeping you focused on the count, keeping you focused on the task, and encouraging you to complete the task. So you're training your mind, and because the mind is focused on the task, you'll notice your body awareness improves, and therefore your ability to understand the activity. Last practice. Now come with me. Sit your fingers on your sternum. I have my elbows up off the floor. My fingers are not pushing, but definitely contacting. I'm going to use my hands to bring sensory feedback. We're going to breathe in again, long, steady and slow. And we're going to focus on what we're feeling underneath our fingers. The movement of the sternum swinging out, away and up. And then on the exhale, we're going to focus on what we're feeling underneath the fingertips. We want to feel the sternum move and swing inward. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Gently start your breath in. Can you control the beginning, the uptake of the breath? There's no snatch or grab. Mouth closed. Those of you that enjoyed the counting, try it again now. Try to add on a count each time. The imagery you might like to use with the sternum is looking for space between your sternum and your back. So how big can you make the rib cage feel? How much space can you create in the rib cage? How wide? How full? How far away from your pelvis? As the sternum falls underneath your fingertips, how close can you allow the sternum to fall inwards? How tiny can you allow the rib cage to become? That takes relaxation. That takes softness. See the rib cage collapse, letting go all the tension in your back. One more practice. Okay, spinning over on the belly. Tricky, huh? Tricky to really promote that full movement in the rib cage, that full movement in the sternum. So enjoy spending the time on it. Here we go. Prone now. Different feedback. So have a little moment lying on your belly, resting your head on your hands. Nice, long, slow breath in. Still focused on the space, still focused on the sternum swinging forward. And a long, slow, steady exhale. Three to go. Breaths are full. You can feel the impact of the breath in all the way through your torso. As low as your lower back, as high as your upper back, your neck, your chest, as low as your lower abdominals, pubic bone, pelvis, as wide as your torso. Okay, sitting back into child pose. Have a little moment here. Knees can be wide. Resting your head down. Still in the zone, still focused on breathing. It's a lovely moment. You'll be getting a lot of feedback into your back. So take your focus there. Great stretch for the lower back as you focus on your breathing. Important stretch for the shoulders and the lats. The skin on your back. The glutes. The knees, the hips, the ankles, the feet. Quietening the mind. Can you stay with the breath? Follow the inhale. And follow the exhale. Okay, spinning over on our side. I've headed towards the back of my mat. I just find it really useful as a reference because mentally, I think about the length of the mat, but I think about the edge. And I try to line myself up with the edge. So that encourages my length, that encourages some postural awareness. So the relationship between the back of my head and the back of my pelvis. My knees are stacked, my feet are stacked, my pelvis is stacked, my shoulders are stacked. I can feel the length through the spine. Bringing your hand up on top of your rib cage, we're about to practice a very famous exercise called one lung breathing. Comes from Eve Gentry's work, comes from Eve Gentry's pre-Pilates work. Okay, breathing in. We've already practiced the long, the slow, and the steady. So all of that's still the same. We've already practiced thinking, feeling, sternum, swinging forward and swinging inwards. So we take all that with us. We challenge it now. We use gravity as a load. The idea now is you're trying to begin to understand the coordination for lateral flexion. So as you breathe in, can you feel the energy rising up into your top hand? Can you feel your rib cage shifting through space laterally? Can you feel the top side opening up? So the pelvis shifting away from the armpit shifting away from the pelvis. And then on your exhale, can you feel the underside collapse? So the rib cage shifts back through, underneath side long, top side short. Now that all happens just because you focus on the breathing and you allow the exercise to reach its full potential. You allow your whole spine to participate in the exercise. Feel it low, feel it high. Careful you're not trying to hold the spine still or hold the pelvis still. Takes a huge amount of control. Can you stay immersed in the practice? Following the breath in, following the lungs filling up, the rib cage expanding, that little pause at the top of the inhale, and then the long, slow, steady exhale. Great, let's spin around and try the other side. Bringing the hand up nice and high so you can gain as much feedback as possible. So remember, the hand is just there for feedback. What can you feel underneath the palm of your hand? Lung filling up and expanding, rib cage widening, expanding. How much more air can you allow in? Stay open. On your exhale, slowly, 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 be in the collapse, be in the emptying. Stay with it. What does it feel like to get to the end? To feel every little last drop coming, squeezing out of your lungs. Slightly uncomfortable, be brave. 2 to go. Last practice. Well done. Now you're sitting up with me. Using this next couple of exercises to prepare us for the Pilates session. Don't know about you, but this next transition is always really tricky for me. How do I head into a Pilates class now with the cueing that I hear, which is related to feeling the breath in my back and sides and maintaining maximal abdominal tension? So you often hear in a Pilates class, keep your abdominals deep, try not to let them pop up. But usually there's no preparation time given for that shift because we've come out of diaphragmatic breathing, full breathing, allowing the abdominals to participate fully. So here's a little preparation exercise, which I find really useful. See if you agree. So I'm just going to use the fingertips on the floor, not really supporting, but I supporting. So just taking a little bit of weight. The position I'm in is flexion. So I'm thinking about imprinting. So I've closed the 2 sit bones together and I've pulled the tail between my legs. I'm thinking of rounding my back. So I'm imagining someone's got hold of the back of my waist and they're drawing me back towards the wall behind. At the same time, I'm thinking about my mat exercise, spine stretch. So I'm trying to creep my fingers a little further forward. I'm sitting up within that C curve. So I'm trying to be as long and as lifted as I can. I'm drawing my abdominals in as deep as I can. Now I'm going to keep my abdominals deep and breathe into my back and sides. I'm going to try and get a little deeper on my exhale. Think long, breathing in. Use the exhale. Can you get a little longer and a little deeper? Keep your imprint. Can you get more abdominal pressure? Can you open your back up more? 3 to go. Hold the tension on your tummy when you breathe in. Last one. Rest. Okay, same. Now we add gravity as a load. As you know, the Pilates Matwork class has our head up in a lot of the exercises. Think single leg stretch, double leg stretch, the hundredths. Think roll like a ball. So now come into the position of roll like a ball. Squeeze your feet together and push your legs out against your hands, your arms, your shoulders. So my hands are wrapped right around on the top of my ankles, feet, as close to my feet as I can. I'm squeezing my feet together and I'm pushing my legs out against my arms. So it's a big workout already, right? Okay, careful. Look down at those abdominals already. How deep can you get them? Now focus on getting wider through your back as you breathe. Don't let your legs rest. Keep squeezing feet. Keep pushing arms. Keep pushing legs against arms. Watch the abs. Rest. Well done. Okay, up for the next challenge. Now we shift into, so we've got our posterolateral breathing going, we've got our wide backs going, we feel more open through the spine now, we feel more connected to the abdominals. Now your next challenge is your percussive breathing. Classically, traditionally, the hundreds is the very first exercise. Us Aussies are a little bit soft. We like to do lots of things before we get into the hundreds. You travel the world, the very first exercise you learn is the hundreds, for a really good reason. So I'm on a mission to bring back the hundreds, to make it more fashionable, and for us all to appreciate why that exercise came first in the Matwork series. So practice with me. Wrap your hands around your rib cage, and I've got mine, can you see? Thumbs back, and then I've wrapped my hands around, and I'm giving myself a pretty good squeeze, a pretty good message. So now, so with your squeeze and grab, that feedback is giving your body a message that for your 5 percussive breaths in and out, you've got to meet the hand grip. You've got to push, 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 and squeeze, 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 squeeze. Now, ready for the next challenge? First 2 sets, 5. Second 2 sets, 4. Third 2 sets, 3. Fourth 2 sets, 2. 1 set, 1. So you have to count. Are you ready? Squeeze, grab, feel that tiny rib cage and sit up as tall as you can. Remember, abs on. Got to stay connected and got to keep the tension on your core. Go. Good. Rest. How'd you go? I did okay. I just lost it a bit on the 4. So we're going to go back and rehearse it again because I feel like I've cheated myself a little bit. Didn't really get the practice as focused and concentrated as I would like. And this is getting to know me. This is how I approach my practice. I often rehearse things twice. That deliberate intention, that deliberate focus on self-mastery. That affects my whole day. It affects my attitude for my whole day. Okay, I'm in. So remember, you're sniffing mouth closed for breath in, and you've heard a H. So in your lounge room right now, you need to be as noisy as me. Are you ready? Okay, we're ready for the 100. Let's do it. Okay, this is this trusty moment, feet on your couch, right? You ready? Trusty ball between your legs because most of you in the Zoom meeting are like me. We don't work our legs enough, and particularly our inner thighs enough. They're incredibly important. They're incredibly long, most of you longer than mine. Squeeze your ball. I've only got my heels on my sturdy, trusty couch, but I'm not resting. So it's a light touch on the couch. The work is to hold your own body weight, to prepare to suck and draw those legs in, because one day that couch won't be there. So you're really using it as an assist. All right, are you ready? So widening your back as you come up into the chest curl. And remember, the breathing is into the back and sides. Can you get wider every time you breathe in? Squeeze the life out of that ball between your ankles and really work your legs. Rest. Oh, so good. I tried to think about floating my legs off my couch halfway through. Hopefully you did the same. Now, do you agree with me? The beat of the arms is kind of a bit weird. So to really help you understand that, we're going to do some work on our upper torsos right now, our shoulder girdle right now, our mid back, and then we're going to come back. I know we're going to do a second set today. We're going to really get to know that exercise and try to improve our self-mastery related rather than ignore it. Okay, so you're on your tummy with me, your mid back. You're setting up on your tummy with me right now. Pre-Pilates exercise. You're going to set up 2 little goalposts. We're going to float our head just up off the floor, but literally just off. It's like I could sniff my mat. I'm that close. So in this position, I'm pressing my elbows down into the floor. At the same time, I'm trying to shoot forward and get longer. At the same time, I'm pressing my pelvis into the ground, pubic bone, 2 pelvic crests. Just notice with that, the weight will be different between the pelvic crests and the pubic bone, but you want all 3 points in contact. So careful you're not tucking, tempting. Stretch both legs, pick your knees up off the floor, push down into the tops of your feet. So it's already energetic. It's already a conditioning exercise. Breathe in, feel wide across your back. Feel your shoulder blades spread. How close to the edge of your torso can you get your shoulder blades? Can you leave them there as you exhale? Can you push the floor away? Breath in, get wider. Get longer. Breath out, more pressure into the floor with your hands and elbows. Breath in, get longer. Stronger through your legs. Breath out, push the floor away. Breath in, get longer and wider. Really separate those shoulder blades, get them to the far edges of your side bodies. Exhale, wrap them around and connect them to your waist. One more. Shoulders, shoulder blades around the edges to waist. Rest. Good. Strong exercise, huh? Deceivingly. Okay, stretch both arms. Same little hover with your head. Now turn the hand so you're resting on the outside edge of your hand, your pinky edge. Fully stretch both elbows, and my arms are in a V. Fully stretch both legs, push down into the tops of your feet again. Contact points in your pelvis, 2 pelvic crests and your pubic bone. Make sure you've got the 3. Make sure you're not tucking. Pick your core up. So remember that's strapped in now. That's a given. Careful you don't let the belly go when you breathe in. All right, think long. Same practice, wide and long for breath in. Press down through the pinky edge of the hand as you exhale. You ready? Get longer. More spread across the shoulder blades, more spread across the upper back. Really work. How do you get the energy without gripping? No snatch. Create positive tension and stress without gripping. Be on a mission to get longer. Longer arms, longer legs, longer spine. Last one. Great. Now come up onto your front support position. So I don't mind if you fist it. I don't mind if you clench, clasp your hands. I don't mind if you sphinx it. So you find the position for you that really connects you, but also keeps you connected. Now, feet are together. Strong through your legs. Really work your legs. So energy reaching back into your feet. Really feel those inner thighs. Really feel your legs. Okay, focus on the spine. Can you set the spine up in this position? So we're running parallel to the floor. Practice your breathing. Don't forget the head. Think double chin and try and get the length through the back of your neck. Try and get longer. Rest. Whew. Sitting back, we're going to do it one more time. Such a good exercise. Nice and calming for the brain because there's not a lot of choreography to focus on. But the intent of the exercise is to stabilize that spine in the neutral position. So you've got to really sense your alignment of your whole back. And the hardest one to feel is the head. It always wants to hang, and it's heavy. So when we get into that position, let's train the neck. Let's train the deep neck muscles. Let's really think about raising the back of the skull up, thinking double chin. So we get more axial length, we get more neck cervical length, less compression. Here we go. All right, setting it up. Actively work your legs. Squeeze your legs together maximally. Okay, set the spine up, maximal length. Whole body working. How light on your elbows can you be? Wrap those shoulder blades around the side edges of your trunk and send your shoulder blades through to your tiny waist. Here we go. Remember the head. Double chin. Get longer. More strength in legs. Last one. Rest. Okay, aren't you excited? Back to the hundreds. Okay, you've got to bring that physicality in your upper torso now, in your arms and shoulders. Remember the 2 prep exercises we did. Remember the focus on limbs. Yes. Good luck. Trying to float those legs off your couch for the last 5 sets. Don't forget to count. Okay, are you in? Curl up. Stick with my tempo. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, out. 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Work on your upper torso. Float your legs. Rest. Okay. Good job. Back on your back. Ball between your knees. Okay. Hopefully you feel very different from the way we started class. Hopefully you feel more expression through your torso, more awareness, more length, more space. Hopefully you feel alive, more connected. Connect your palms through your long, straight arms. So remember to keep the energy now in your upper torso. You're getting ready for imprint. You're going to think imprint through the whole spine before you think imprint through the pelvis. Try that with me. So on my next exhale, I'm trying to feel like somebody's got hold of the tippy back point of the crown of my head and they're giving my spinal cord a little stretch. I'm looking for space in my neck, in my thoracic, in my lumbar. I'm using my deep exhale to get my core, my lower abdominals as deep as I can. And then the impact of that is the spreading across the sacrum and the flattening across my lumbar. I've hardly moved my pelvis. Gently return to neutral. Be careful. How do you not throw up with the abdominals? 3 to go. Feel the release of tension in your neck. The release of tension in your thoracic. Work your way down with that idea. Really control the breathing as you return. How do you not distend your stomach? How do you not push up? Bring consciousness to the spine. How close mentally and physically can you link yourself, your physical self, to your back? Does it feel like you're in your back, you're in your spine, you're sensing your spine? You can feel subtle changes in your neck, in your thoracic, in your lumbar. Now you're ready for pelvic curls. Imprint through the whole spine before you take off. Bring that energy to your upper torso. Arms are fully stretched. Palms are pushing. Shoulders are pushing. Raising the pelvis up. Bending the knees forward away from the sternum. Holding us at the top. 3 deep breaths. Can you use your upper torso more? Can you get wider through your upper torso? Can you get deeper in your core? Can you get longer in your back as we start to lay down, roll down? So I'm thinking of laying forwards. So as I lay each joint, I'm actually trying to keep the pelvis traveling forwards. My pelvis is being pulled towards my heels, and I'm using my hamstrings to do that. I'm using my feet. My feet are tractioning on the mat. Returning to neutral, how do you not push those abs up? How do you not distend through the abdominal wall? Keep your front body connected. Breathing into your back and sides. There's the widening. Exhale, take off. Rolling through the spine. Arriving at the top of the bridge, can you feel your feet tractioning back, sucking back towards your sit bones? Little squeeze on that ball. Can you feel your pelvis heading past your knees? Can you feel your knees heading forwards over your toes? Suck the heels back towards your sit bones and raise that pelvis a little higher without throwing your back. Slowly lay down, roll. Wide upper torso, strong shoulders, long arms, palms pushing. Stuck with your feet, traction with your feet. Roll the back, lay the back along your mat. Control that last little bit. This is hard. How do you not lose connection as you return to neutral? This is the hardest bit. Control it. Careful, don't push out with your tummy. Okay, drop the ball between your knees. Let's practice our single leg lift. Next deep breath out. Let's float our left knee up. Let's stay. With that left leg up, do you feel the energy drawing down into your left hip? Can you get a sensation of sucking and drawing the leg into the hip? Widen across the back of your pelvis line. Now bring awareness into the right foot and the right leg. Check your alignment. Check your weight placement in the foot. Does it feel like the right foot is still tractioning like it was for the pelvic curl? Does it feel like the right leg is drawing into the hip? Now bring your awareness into your upper torso. Palms are pressing, arms are long. Upper back is spreading. Those shoulder blades are heading and wrapping around the sides of your torso. You can feel that linking into your weight. Spine is long. Continue to practice your breathing. Send your left leg down. Keep connected. Awareness through the whole torso. Second side. Left foot quickly jumps in, dives into its role. Left leg quickly connects to the hip, the pelvis, the spine, the torso, the arms, the shoulders. Right leg is up. It feels completely strapped in. 3 deep breaths. Remember, the breath is into the back and sides. You're getting wider across the back every time you breathe in. You're getting deeper in through your abdominals every time you breathe out. You're using your hands and arms to keep the consciousness in your upper torso. You're wrapping those shoulder blades around and into your core. Send the right leg down. Good, let's take the arms in tight. Let's bring the knees and feet together. Let's practice our spine twist in a regressed position with feet down. Let's be active in the legs. So the feet are still tractioning in. The legs are still sucking and drawing in preparation for the 90-90. Tip across, breath in. Keep your head neutral. Exhale, return. Feel the energy in the upper torso before you take off. Careful you're not squeezing your shoulder blades together. Pressing palms down, the arms are fully outstretched. Careful your elbows are not resting on the floor. So we're bringing all those concepts with us that we started the class with. Managing your whole body. You're your own HR manager. How do you not grip? Create the appropriate energy. Whole body is actively stabilizing, actively supporting the rotation in the pelvis, the lower back. Your upper torso strength is counteracting and counterbalancing. So you get the appropriate mobility in the thoracic. Coming back to center next step, which shouldn't be too difficult. Float both those legs up at the same time. Ready? Little gap between your knees, squeeze your feet together. We've already been here today. Keep the head neutral, keep the arms in tight. Inhale. Exhale. Careful, don't let your upper torso weaken. Keep checking your wide back, your wide mid-back. Last set. Rest. Good job. Spinning over, preparing to stand. Tuck your toes and drop the weight onto your feet and just sit. Okay, spend a minute with me on your feet. Look down at your feet. Can you spread each and every toe? Can you get air and space between each and every toe? Can you see daylight? Now you have to actively contact the floor with your long toes. Work on it. This is an important moment, getting the foot right, so that as you stand, you're not on a small platform, you're on your widest platform. So as we start to stand now, catch yourself out. Can you keep the daylight between each of those toes? Here we go. Keep watching your feet. Have you still got daylight? Are the toes still long? Keep watching your feet. Start to roll, keep watching your feet. Which toes have you lost? Which foot have you lost the contact with the floor? Are you standing in the center of both pads of your feet? Have you got the big toe underneath the little toe as you roll and stand? Now, without looking at those feet, can you still feel it? Eyes closed. Work on your feet. Try and get the toes longer. Try and feel the tippy points of your toes without scrunching, taking the floor. Can you get all the mounds of the feet? Those knuckle heads underneath each toe. Can you push? Can you contact? Eyes closed. Now can you work your legs? Are you standing on two fully engaged, energetic legs? You should feel the energy pumping through the legs, and that started in your feet. Keep pumping. Come on, get the legs to do more work for you. Get your feet to do more work for you. Push the floor away. Now, can you feel the energy from the foot through the piston type legs, traveling up through your pelvis? Try and unlock your pelvis. Try and feel like your pelvis is floating between your legs. Unlock your sacrum. Feel the energy rising through you. Unlock your back. Unlock your shoulders. Arms are dangling. Suspended off your shoulders. Feel the strength in your whole torso. Feel your center. That imaginary line of gravity, can you contact it? Gently open your eyes. Thanks for practicing. Have a great day. Take it easy, everybody. See you next week. Enjoy the recording.